Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Rental Regrets. As always, I'm your host, Victory Nub, and today we are looking at a pair of games. The first one that we're going to be looking at, as you can see on the screen here, is Marble Madness, developed and published by Atari Games and released in the United States on December 15th of 1984. That date is a little bit inaccurate, considering the one that I would have been most familiar with would be the one on the Nintendo Entertainment System. The version that we are looking at today is the arcade version of the game. This is actually part of the Midway Arcade Origins collection, and it plays pretty much the same as the NES version of the game. It turns out that Marble Madness was ported to a whole lot of different systems. It originally came out in the arcade, but over the lifetime of its existence, it has also been released in, the Amiga, the Apple II, the Apple II GS, the Atari ST, the Commodore 64, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Gear, Java ME, the Sega Master System, the Nintendo Entertainment System, the IBM PC, the Sega Genesis, the Sega Master System, the X68000, and the ZX Spectrum. So a whole lot of different systems. The gameplay is tuned specifically for a type of control that you just aren't going to find on most consoles, which was it had a trackball in the arcade cabinet that you would move kind of like you were spinning a marble to move around an isometric maze, and you're trying basically to get the marble from the top of the maze to the bottom of the maze, and there is a clock that runs as you are playing the game. So all you have to control the game is the analog stick or the D-pad. And like I said, the key is get to the bottom of the course. Visually, this game was stunning when it originally came out, and I would say that today it's still a very visually impressive game, considering what time it came out. Now, granted, there is, a limit to how impressive a game can be if it's all gridded out like this one is. I didn't want to be eaten. I don't want to go down, I want to go sideways. Ouch! So obviously you can't just fall straight down all the platforms or else you take a bump. If it's a very short fall, you'll just kind of become dizzy and lose control for a couple of seconds. If you fall a longer distance, the marble will just crack and it'll fall to pieces. There is a persistent clock in this game. If you finish the level, you get a little bit of extra time added on at the beginning of each level. And if you run out, why did that go up? I pressed down and it went up. That's strange. There we go. These walls are bouncy. I don't love that. The music is very strange. Owie! Sorry, flatworm, you don't get to eat me, and neither do the slimes! Yes, they do. Oh, this sucks. I can't get through. There we go. I'm not gonna make it. I'm gonna run out of time. Not enough time. I gotta play fast. Not fast enough. And that's why we're going to be looking at multiple games today. Yeah, I mean, it's that fast to play. Well, let's see if we can't do any better on the second try. This is the practice race. I don't recall this game having a ton of extra levels. I think it's just like 5 or 6 maps total. So you're really just pressed to get through each one as fast as you can, because they don't give you a lot of leeway to get through each one to the bottom. Alright, that's fine. I'll take the bump. Just make it to the bottom. No tapeworm. Bad! Oh! Well, I made it down there, but that's not going to count. Yeah. Alright, we're doing better. We're doing better than last time. Yeah! So when I do have a relevant story tied to a particular game, I do like to share it, and of course this is going to sound silly and tenuous, but I do have a story related to marbles. There was a teacher that I had in middle school. I'm blanking on his name. but he was the drama teacher. So this was an elective class that I had to take. And he was very big into encouraging kids to take up hobbies periodically as part of his classes. And one of the hobbies that he kind of got everyone into during one of the semesters I had with him as one of my teachers was marbles. He came in dressed like a weird hippie one time and had just a sack of marbles, and he was like, "We're going to learn how to play marbles today." And he, broke out his special sack of marbles and had everyone learn how to play with the striker, the big marble, and knocking the smaller ones out of the circle in order to win the game. I will say that it was one of those things where everyone loved the teacher. He was so cool, and everything that he, was teaching us, teaching us about music and art and all that, really kind of stuck with kids. So it was one of those things where eventually whatever habit or whatever hobby that he wanted people to learn, we would all kind of take up and play for a while. This was one of the ones that he got everyone into. I had marbles at one point, a special sack with all these cool looking colors and different designs. And yeah, I played it for a little while. I think I stuck with it maybe for 2 or 3 months, and then I was like, on to the next thing. Mr. Gates, that was his name. His name was Mr. Gates. And I think he also got my particular class into Pogs. If you're not familiar with Pogs, Pogs were basically these cardboard wafers that were kind of like silver dollar size pieces of cardboard with designs on each of them. Like usually it was one side had like a design for some kind of franchise. I think I had a bunch that were themed after Mega Man X, and I believe I got those out of an issue of Nintendo Power of all places. And those were the ones I ended up using. And the key there was you would have like a slammer, which was a hard plastic piece that you would whack a stack of Pogs with, and every single one you flip from the side up side with the graphic to side down, where you would see the plain white side, you would actually claim those, and once you had more than your opponent, or all of your opponents, I believe you won the game. It was one of those other things that he got everyone into as part of the semester I had with him. As far as the actual drama class, I did take drama as an elective in middle school. It was the only time I took it. But we did a play that we recorded as part of our semester. We never actually did a live production. I don't think they wanted to torture middle school kids by making them perform in front of anyone. But I do remember very specifically that we did Beauty and the Beast as our play that semester. And I was cast as the Beast. It turns out that it was the juiciest role. It wasn't one that was picked up because they thought, I'm an ugly kid and they wanted me to be the monster. It was one where I wore like a trench coat and a hat, and I think I put like a bug over the lens of one of my pairs of glasses and acted like, just a normal person as the normal guy, and the Beast was always the one in the trench coat and whatnot. I don't remember a ton about it. I think we had to do it as a silent play, so there were no spoken parts. But apparently my role in that was good enough that they had an award ceremony at the end of the year, and I actually won Best Supporting Actor for the school for that particular year for my portrayal of the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. Again, it was a very strange thing because it had to do with a play that we recorded but never actually showed anyone outside of the class itself. So it was a very interesting way to do drama, but that was my history in the drama class and with the teacher, Mr. Gates. All right, we're going to do one more run of this game, and then we're going to swap over to the second one. Again, this is kind of why I thought this would be a shorter episode, is because we were going to look at a game that I could probably do a couple of minutes of runs and then lose or get frustrated and quit because, again, even if I do make it all the way through all the levels, it's only like 5 or 6 and then it's over. Now, fun fact, this is something I don't know if I knew before I started this episode, but it is one of those things that I learned just kind of doing a little research on it. This game was actually designed by a gentleman that probably a lot of people who know anything about the industry will recognize the name of. This game was designed, of course, by Mark Cerny. Now, who is Mark Cerny? If you don't know, Mark Cerny is one of the lead designers of the PlayStation, I believe, 1, 2, and 3, maybe 4 and 5. He had his hands in quite a few of those consoles. He also was a consultant for Naughty Dog, for Insomniac, for Sucker Punch. These are big developers for the PlayStation brand, and he's kind of had his hand in just about every single one of the games designed for the PlayStation exclusively in the last 10-15 years. So he's a very important figure, and I thought it was interesting to see that he was the reason that this game came to be. Oh! Oh, we're so close. I gotta rush it. I gotta rush it! But not too much. Get up here, get up here, get up here! Oh! So close. It's over. Alright. Yeah, I think that's a good enough look at this game that we got a taste of what it had to offer. Some final thoughts on it. The design of this game is very, very cool. And I know this is why I ended up looking at the game when I did. I think this is one of those games where I rented it one time. It was way too hard. No matter how cool it looked, I probably only rented it the one time and said, I'm never touching this game again. It sucks. The 3D effect, you know, that isometric angle that they use is very interesting. The puzzle or the marble movement is tuned a very specific way that, you know, it has momentum, which was very unique at the time for video games to have a moving object that has the kind of momentum that is realistic that the marbles do in this game. Because when you move a certain direction, they have weight and they continue rolling. And if you go down a hill, they gain momentum. And if you go up a hill, it slows down and breaks a little bit. Falling in this game has, you know, a mechanic where, you know, because you're rolling a glass marble, if you fall too far, it cracks and breaks. The moving slimes in this game and the little worms that kind of jump on your marble to try to eat you are all very well designed. The music, not great. I do remember liking the song in the second level a lot, but yeah, overall, there's kind of weird bips and boops and probably very appropriate for the time that the game came out. As far as my regret, yeah, I definitely would say I regretted renting this game the one time that I did, because it would have been, you know, a $4 or $5 rental that I got a couple of minutes of entertainment out of and was like, this is the worst game ever. I hate this. This isn't fun. Such was the case with a lot of arcade games back in the day. They got you to spend your money in the machine, and then, you know, after 10, 15 minutes, hopefully the value of the experience that you had was enough to kind of propel you to play the game some more. The design of this one is very prohibitive, though, because you have a running timer. And if you don't finish the level at the end of that timer, this game does not let you continue. At least it didn't appear to let me continue. Maybe I needed to add more tokens. But yeah, having to start all the way over at the very beginning to try the level that you got beaten at all over again, not the funnest mechanic. So yeah, I think as a Nintendo Kart, and again, we're looking at an arcade emulation of the game, not the original game, but I remember the original NES Kart of this game looking very similar to what we saw today. Maybe not as colorful. Like the gradations of color in this game are a little bit sharper than what you would have seen on the NES Kart. Shadows, I don't think, were a thing in that game. But the kind of movement inside the marble, that circle of yellow dots inside that kind of help you tell which way the marble's moving and the momentum of it, those were definitely a part of the original NES Kart. of the game. So they did port that over. And again, the physics in the original, I don't know why I keep saying original, but in the NES Kart, very much matched what you experienced in this arcade port of the game. So design-wise, one of the great feats of design back in the 80s. Fun factor of it, don't know if it holds up. This is one of those games that you look at once or twice and go, all right, I had some fun with it. I'm good. Let's move on to the next one. And we're going to do that now. So let's move over to the next game. And we're back, and we're going to be looking at RC Pro-Am, which was developed by Rare and published in the United States. Well, I say United States, but I guess all of their games were initially published in the US, at least published on the NES by Nintendo. The Sega Genesis version of the game was published by Trade West, which I want to say was just the publishing arm for Rare Games, but I'm not 100% certain on that. And it was released on February 10th of 1988. This is definitely one of those games that I had very fond memories of as a kid, and I have gone back to as an adult and seen the very serious problems that they had in the design, which we are going to see as we take a look at the game today. But basically, RC Pro-Am, the conceit is you're just driving on a course as a little toy RC car, and you do three or four laps for each level. And as long as you are not in last place, you finish the race and you move on to the next level. There are little tiles that will appear on each map, usually, that have letters. If you spell the word Nintendo in enough of the pieces before you get knocked out of the competition, you actually advance to the next series where you get a different vehicle. You start with like a little truck, and then I believe you move to a van, and I think there's a third one, but I don't remember. I don't know if I ever got far enough to get a third vehicle. This game can be very unfair, and we'll see why in just a couple of minutes here. So we don't need to save. Let's just play the game. New game. Dun, 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 dun. I do remember liking the soundtrack of this game very much. So the cool thing about this game, and this is something that has been repeated in games of this particular style going forward, is that there are upgrades that you can pick up on the track. There's one of them. Tires, which give you more traction so you can turn. I just picked up an engine, which makes my vehicle move a little bit faster. And I believe there is another one for acceleration, if I'm not mistaken. You don't get one in every single level, but you usually, well, excuse me, you don't get all of them in every single level, but you do find usually at least one. I don't believe there is a boost for this game, or if you hit the button at a certain time, you go a little bit faster, but if there is, I can't remember. So I just picked up one of the attack weapons in this game. We did a Nubs Collection episode for Rock and Roll Racing in the past. If you are familiar with the mechanics of that game, this was very much a predecessor to that. And I'm trying to remember how to fire my rockets. There we go. Ah, I only got second. So that game very much took inspiration from this one. This game was designed by Rare, and the Rock and Roll Racing series was designed by Blizzard, or Sculptured Software, I believe is what they were called at that point. I might be wrong on that. We did just see one of the things that I really hated about this game. No, it's not yet. It's not yet. We haven't seen it yet. Haha, gotcha. Did love the speed and control of the cars in this game. Get out of here. So there's little, what look like sawhorses all over the maps in this game. And what those are is they make your vehicle invincible temporarily. Oh, I was so close to taking first. I don't know if it really matters what trophies you're getting in these games. I think all that really matters is as long as you're not in last place. There was another weapon that we just missed on the ground a second ago. Oh, okay, so there's tires. Aha, gotcha. Oh, I missed the warp. The game is very good at picking up those warps, so you cannot, not the warps, but the speed up ramps, so you cannot miss those if you can help it. Get the tire! Oh, I didn't get the tire. See, he got it. Ha ha ha. You know, it might not spell Nintendo in this version. I'm not sure what it spells then. Oh, so many sawhorses. Gotcha. Oh, I hit him and he was still invincible. Chaw. I'm spelling chaw. This game, of course, endorses chewing tobacco for kids. I say that as though that's not something that they marketed for kids when I was, well, when I was a kid. They definitely made Big League Chew look just like chewing tobacco. I would be astonished if they still make it. There's no way they let kids get that stuff anymore. Between that and they used to do candy cigarettes. I remember those very vividly. They basically were little sticks of gum that came in a white paper wrapper, and if you blew through it, a little puff of confectioner sugar came out of it. I have a feeling that was made by a candy company that was just a small subsidiary of, like, Philip Morris or one of the other, Marlboro. Alright, well, things were looking dim at the beginning there, and I've definitely taken the lead back. Ooh. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm really paying the price for missing some of those upgrades. You know, it's funny that you're really not supposed to be riding on the walls, but in this game, I don't know if it really messes with your performance all that much. I think the key here is just making sure you hit the warps and avoid the puddles and don't crash, obviously. Thankfully, I don't think the enemy in this game ever actually gets rockets or what we saw on the ground, which is little charges that you can drop. Of the two, I always prefer using the rockets because you typically find yourself in a position behind the enemy more often than in front of. And we are going to find a situation coming up very soon here where, ah, crap it. Yeah, there are the bombs. Oh, look at that. I didn't even hit him. Gotcha that time. We're coming up in a situation here where we're going to encounter the things that was the absolute worst about the game design. Ah, you jerk. Champ. There it goes. Yep, it's over. So what just happened, and I think all three of them are doing it now, at some point during the game, and I think it's probably the level I'm in right now, and it hasn't occurred before this, you'll actually have at least one car go into like a hyperspeed mode where it goes way faster than any car you have or any ability that you have, even if you have all of the abilities. Like you pick up all the engine upgrades, all the acceleration. Doesn't matter. Once that vehicle enters its hyper mode, it's going to be faster than you no matter what, and you cannot catch up to them. And that is flat unfair. That is a mechanic that screams someone made this for the arcade so that you would pump more quarters in the machine. And as I've always complained about with games that are ported from the arcade to consoles, you gotta take that crap out. I mean, if you're incapable of designing a game to be difficult but fair, that's one thing. But don't make it so that the game punishes you for something you aren't at fault for. If I run a flat, clean race and one of the vehicles just suddenly becomes, you know, half or twice as fast as yours, and you're just, you know, SOL because you were meant to be way ahead of them at this point, and you didn't, and, well, you have bombs, but you didn't place one at the perfect spot to hit him before he crossed the finish line, so, you know, you're not going to be able to stop him from lapping you. That's not terribly good design, and it's not fun. we're doing all right here. I think we'll at least place, if nothing else. Yeah, definitely now. Gotcha. Although I am running really low on charges now. I think if you pick up the actual weapons, you get a couple of charges. But even then, I need 2 more letters, and I'm only going to find at most 1. There's one of them. In order to... Oh, I got all 3 of the upgrades in this level. Alright, so I wanted inside... Oh, got it! I would like to, at the very least, get 1 vehicle upgrade before the end. But if I don't... Alright, cool. Get out of here. Alright. We're doing alright. I need to start riding the outside where those ramps are. And I don't have any charges left, so I just need to do some clean racing. There we go. Alright. So I need 1 letter, and if I get that letter and finish the race without being out, I should get the next vehicle. Now, the disadvantage of getting the next vehicle is I think you lose all of your vehicle upgrades, like the tire and the acceleration and whatnot. Doesn't take away your weapons, as far as I know. Oh, there is a letter. I thought I had missed it. Ah! Shoot. They only gave me 2 chances there. 3 laps on this one. Alright, I gotta memorize where it is if I see it and don't touch it. I think that was the last upgrade to max out my vehicle. There it is! It's on an inside turn. And this is no joke. These guys are hitting all the ramps. Alright, so the inside turn was... Where was it? Here. Oh, I missed! Oh, I can't... Alright. I can't screw up now. Yeah, see, that guy hit turbo speed, so I got screwed out of it. That is tough. Alright, what are we looking at? 29. We'll try one more time, see if I can't get to it. Get to that second vehicle. Can't make any promises. This game can be quite unfair, as you saw there. The 1 vehicle hit the turbo speed. Oh, excellent. So I have all the letters. I just need to place in order to get the next vehicle. But of course, that's going to be easier said than done because it looks like they've started hitting their turbo speed. Which means 1 vehicle is going to just do something stupid unfair. Haha, gotcha. Get out of here. Ow, shoot. I do like that if you pick up the upgrades, even if you don't need them anymore, you still go faster. Just a little bit, like a tiny boost. Alright, so see the letters coming off the bottom there, and I believe I become like an SUV. And yeah, again, I lose all my upgrades. And boy, you can feel it. I'm not sure what they were going for there, but I mean, the vehicles feel like they're driving molasses once you get downgraded. Oh, come on. Oh, shoot. Well, at least there's 5 laps, so I can try to catch up to these guys. But again, we've already hit the point in the game where some of these vehicles are just going to start getting turbo speed for no reason. And you'll, in fact, when it happens, you will actually hear if you're next to them. Like the engine will just kind of whoop and then start flying. Dang it. Oh, these oil slicks are the worst. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm not going to finish this one. This is going to be the breaker for me. mean, I get just enough distance, or close enough distance on them to catch up to, like, the last place guy, and then I get hit by a wall or an oil slick. No, no, no! Just like that. Ah! Oh, they had to screw me over at the end there. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap things up and do some final thoughts on this one. I really, really like how they tuned the turning in this game. Now, I wasn't playing the cleanest in the world, but I was also trying to talk while I was doing that. Sometimes, you know, talking and playing video games isn't the easiest thing in the world. It always felt very tight, taking the turns. I never felt like I was not in control or I didn't have enough turning ability to get around a turn. It was always more an issue of me getting the timing of the turn right versus having to slow down so that I could make the turn without crashing into the wall. Also, the penalty for hitting walls is not nearly as intense as it could have been. It seemed like they wanted you to hold the gas down as long as you were racing, and they didn't even give you a brake button. Your only options for slowing down are let go of the gas. I love that they give you weapons. So if a vehicle's in front of you, you can overtake them by shooting a rocket at them, or if they're catching up to you from behind, you can drop a bomb, blow them up. The sawhorses were a nice touch, although I would have liked it if just touching the enemy would have wiped them out, make it kind of like getting the invincibility star in Super Mario Kart instead of what they do in this game, where they just kind of spin and it really doesn't matter unless they hit a wall and then they'll break down. I don't love the turbo speed mechanic on the vehicles. Oh, okay, so there's the third one. So they're showing the third vehicle on there, or fourth, I guess. I don't remember if I ever got that far in advancing in this game. The thing about the turbo speed with the cars, eventually you hit a point in the game where all three of the vehicles will do this super fast speed. And at that point, you literally have one option to stay in the game. And that is you have to hit them with a weapon before they get ahead of you, because once they're out of you, you are not going to catch them. There is no turbo speed option for your vehicle. There are no means of you getting back into the race once they all start going that higher speed. So it's either hit them with a weapon. And by the way, hitting them with a weapon does not stop them from going super fast. If you do not catch them every single time after they start turbo speed, you're not going to be able to finish the race. You'll be out the entire time. I hate that mechanic. Frankly, it smacks of arcade, pump the quarters into the machine so you can continue gameplay design or cabinet design, which should never be implemented in home console games. It just shouldn't. It's not good design. It smacks of someone just wanted you to pump 40 bucks of quarters in before you left for the night, and I've already paid for the cartridge. I shouldn't have to keep paying you to keep playing this game. It's just, you know, hey, this game came out in the arcade and we want to put it on home consoles. Do whatever you have to do to port it there. Don't worry about balancing difficulty or mechanics or anything else. Just get it out there. Whoever was responsible for that, and you can't say it was one company, it was multiple devs, should be ashamed of themselves, because it just shows a lack of care on their part in moving games between an arcade setting and a home console. But enough of that. I've complained about that enough over the course of the Nubs Collection series and also Reno Regrets, and it hasn't gotten any better over time, and thankfully, as we get into the Super Nintendo, we will start getting away from that kind of design mindset for video games, where most of the games that came out on Super Nintendo, not all of them, but a good chunk of them, were designed for home consoles. They were not designed to be played, you know, in an arcade setting first and then just kind of sloppily ported later. My one regret, I think this is a game I would absolutely have loved having as a kid. Even though I've complained here today about the unfair mechanic of the vehicles just getting way faster and flying around, I always loved the kinetic, easy to grasp and maneuver design of the gameplay, moving the vehicle left and right. Not to mention, even though the vehicle color is very, monotone, you are red, and maybe they have a couple of highlights, but I always thought the design of the vehicles in this game and the number of different points of pivot you can see in them, just looking at the truck here, was always very well designed for an NES kart. There's probably, not counting completely, I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 16 different angles that you see that vehicle going in a circle throughout there. Most of the time with NES sprites, you saw maybe 2. If a game was designed to go side-scrolling, you only saw them looking left and them going right. If it was a top-down, maybe you had a different animation for going up and down in addition to left and right. This game made very good use of the animation for the karts that you drive around on the field with. So graphically, in that respect, it was a very pretty game. Now, granted, you're still driving around on a green landscape with a gray ground, and you see the same puddles and arrows and all that throughout the entire game. But the animation of the cars itself, given the limitations of what you could do on an NES, were very pretty. So yeah, I regret not having this game when I was younger, just as a game that I owned. I'm glad that they ended up porting it to modern consoles via Rare Replay. Obviously, if you couldn't tell from the background on the screen there, that this is the Rare Replay version of the game and the intro that we looked at. I still like this game. I don't think it's fair at times, but this is kind of the game that led into another game that I really loved, Rock and Roll Racing, which we've already looked at, and I loved that one. So that's going to do it for this episode of Rental Regrets. As always, I do appreciate each of you watching, and I will see you next time.